Yes. Hi, and welcome to another edition of Colorado Real Estate Rockstars, where you get to have your own personal meet and greet with some of our biggest Rockstar Realtors here in Colorado Springs. Today, I'm here with Brian Coram from the Cutting Edge Realtors. And Brian has been in the business for, Brian, how long have you been in the business?
Oh gosh, I want to say 8 years now, 7 or 8 years.
So you've been in it long enough to more than get your feet wet.
You can. That's a good way to phrase it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, are we always learning? Yes. So feet are wet, but not soaked. I guess that was a weird analogy. Never mind.
Yeah. So I just have to tell you that Brian and I had not met prior to this, and I called him last week and I just said, hey, you know what? You are an absolute rock star. Y'all know I do my research on agents, and Brian's name kept coming to the top, of course. He's like in the top 2% in the country. So just so you know. So I called him, and this is always shocking, he answered his phone. Like, agents never do that. And I'm like, don't they know it's me calling? But anyway, he answered his phone, and immediately I knew I liked this guy, because you know what? I think we started the conversation laughing about something.
We did. I don't remember what it was, but it was a good conversation. To be fair, I don't always answer my phone. You happen to catch me on a good morning, but I don't want to set the wrong expectation. I do get busy. I don't always answer my phone, but I try. I do try.
But do you return calls?
Of course.
So exactly. So sometimes we know you're on the phone, but it's like it's business. We need to talk to you.
Yeah. Seems like it should be simple, not always simple. I get it.
Exactly. So I know when we were talking the other day, you said you've been spending the summer being the chauffeur to the kids.
Yes.
So obviously you have children.
Yep.
And I know that you said something about your wife. So you're married and you have kids. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah. So the part you haven't heard about is I've got 2 dogs too, and I typically start with them because if you ask my kids which child is my favorite, I've got a favorite daughter and a favorite son, but I will always say the dog first. So Bandit and Nova are my 2 pups. They are adorable and monstrous, and they're very small. That one, Bandit's a terrier. He was an adopt a pup, and then Nova we got last year. So that's been great. They've been keeping us busy. And the kids, so I've got 2 kids again, 1 son, 1 daughter, Kai and Talia. Kai is a hockey player, which is one thing that's been keeping us busy this summer.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And is an avid band kid. And then Talia is an avid gymnast.
Oh, really?
So we've been keeping busy with that and decorating a room in Taylor Swift because what 13-year-old girl doesn't love Taylor Swift? So that's that has also been keeping us busy. Like, oh, I want to do this now, I want to do that now, and all that decorating stuff. That's been fun. And then my wife Samantha works. If I call her Samantha, I'm going to be in trouble because that's when she thinks she's in trouble. She goes by Sam.
Oh,
but she works at the Children's Hospital here locally. So.
Oh, does she really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Is she a nurse or?
She is a child life specialist, and if you don't know what that is, most people don't. You familiar with that one?
No, I'm not.
Okay. In general, the way she presents it is that she deals with the psychosocial and emotional needs of a child in medical care. So the way I like to describe it is if you have a doctor that walks in, says, this is the procedure we're doing, your bone's broken, here's what we're going to do, get it, great, and then walks out, and the kid's going, I don't understand what any medical term you just said meant. So then a child life specialist will take over and go, okay, what the doctor just described to you is we need to fix this bone in your arm. Here's a splint. Here's how we're going to do it. Let me actually put it on you if you want, so you can actually see what it's going to be like. Here's the room that we're going to do it in so that you understand where we're going and we're not just walking down a hospital hall and you have no idea what's going to happen next. Here are all the things that are going to take place in this interaction so that you can be prepared for that without being nervous.
Got it. Yeah, because it's scary for adults, let alone kids.
Exactly. Yep. And the adult might actually understand what the doctor said, but if not, again, ask questions. You don't have as much time maybe in front of the doctor, so it helps to have that clarification.
So kind of ties in with your background in counseling.
Correct.
I mean, is that how we came to be? Were we both in counseling or not
No,
in counseling, like there was something wrong?
yeah.
Brian used to be, Brian was in the counseling field. That's what I meant.
I mean,
He
either or,
might
works the
need
same.
some
Works the
counseling, but
same. No, Sam and I are actually high school sweethearts. So we went to school here at Liberty, actually in Colorado Springs.
oh, did you really?
Yeah, so we've been here for a long time, but I met her in high school and we have been together since.
So high school sweethearts and Colorado Springs natives?
No, we're both military families, so neither one
Oh,
of us is a
but you
native.
came here in high school. I mean, you were, how old were
I
you?
actually spent most of my life here. So I elementary school all the way through high. I've been here.
Oh,
Sam got here, I think, in middle school, or around middle school for her.
okay. So in our world anymore, that is a native.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty much.
got here as fast as I could. Yeah, that's
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's cool that you guys have that, common background as far as work wise, understanding, what each other does.
Yep.
Because a lot of times, we have spouses have no idea what the other one does. Like, I know he's a something. But so how did you end up in real estate?
I started in real estate to work with my brother, and we opted at some point in time to do real estate differently. He went more investment side. I went more residential client facing side. So that was good. Like it's been a difference, of course, of how you operate. But that's how I got started. And then since then I've just been here, stuck around.
Just kind of hanging out and becoming a rock star.
I guess, yeah, something like that.
I love it. I love it. What do you attribute that rock stardom to?
Oh gosh.
Like
to answer that question, I would have to accept the moniker of Rockstar, which I'm probably not going to do. So I've
hung it on you. You are now the rock star.
Okay, well that's okay.
In my world.
For me, I really just think it comes down to the counseling background. Again, it's very much a interaction of how can I help you? What are you really looking for? Coming up with those questions that somebody hasn't asked before. If you have a first-time home buyer, and I always jokingly tell my first-time home buyers this, but the first time I bought a house, I walked in, it said, I love it, I'm never leaving, I'm going to have my kids here, I'm going to build my family here. None of those things happened. None of them happened.
That's so true.
Right, but that was my assumption going in. It's like, this is it, I'm done. I know that's not the case for most first-time home buyers. Now I talk about my PTSD door is what I call it. We had a door that had two doors on the other side of it. So we had like, here's a door, and there's a door right here. It was hard for you to walk into this door, which swung in from the garage, because you couldn't go this way because it hit the coat closet, and you couldn't go this way because it hit the basement. And it was one of those things that I didn't notice about the house initially, but then after I noticed that you couldn't stop noticing it.
Then it drove you crazy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So now I try to find those things when I'm working with someone. Go, wait, what about this? You said you didn't like that. What about when your kitchen? You said you like to have a lot of people in your kitchen. We're in a galley kitchen. Is not going to work for you. Trying to come up with those questions that maybe you haven't considered because you're so drawn into the house, which is great. We want you to be happy about the house, but thinking about those things that maybe you haven't thought of yet and trying to prevent you from jumping into something that maybe you wouldn't do otherwise. So yeah, I think that has been the most of my success, is just trying to be proactive and realistic. Like, hey, you say you're going to finish the basement. I said the same thing when I bought my first house. I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to build out my basement. I'm going to jump on, I'm going to buy all these tools. I do not use power tools. Right there, someone should have said, no. Stop.
It's really hard to be in there with the old drill that you got.
Do not give this man a saw. It is not a good idea. Like, that would have been more beneficial than someone going, no, you can totally do that. It'll be easy enough to learn. Like, just watch a lot of. No, we have to be realistic what our choices are. I didn't have the time or skill level to do that. If someone else does, great, we'll have that conversation. But I didn't. I wish somebody had told me.
Surprise. I hear that so often, especially with my first time home buyers that I work with. And I think all of I am a mortgage lender. So, I'm in these transactions with these agents. But my first time home buyers who I love and adore, their idea is like, well, if I can get something cheaper, less expensive, I don't mind a fixer-upper. I'm like, not for your
Fine, fixer-upper. Yeah, it always depends on what we're capable of doing. And I think that's
yeah,
an important distinction to make.
exactly. If you're someone that's in the trades, maybe.
Mhm.
But the average person, I mean, my secret headquarters here is my basement, which is fortunately finished. Because I just need to paint. I can't even get around to doing that. So, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. So when you're not working, which in real estate can be a 24/7 business, because you're out
Yeah.
showing property all day and you're doing your research at night and you're going out in the evenings, maybe doing a listing appointment. And it's really hard to separate work and family life, because do you work mostly from home or do you go to the office?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also in my secret lair in my basement. So most of the time
My
I'm
back
down
cave.
doing something or other. I mean, my secret lair also doubles as my gym. You can see with the like workout equipment over here and whatnot. So it just depends.
You can see my fireplace where I just sit. The fire.
I think that's perfect. I love that.
Maybe I need to get a Peloton bike just to put here, so
Just
y'all
put
think. After this, I'm going to do my Peloton. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Anyway, so how do you find time to set work aside and spend time with the family?
Yeah. It always depends on what the market condition is, right? So one thing, and I like to set proper expectations, again, going back to the counseling background, like I never want to promise somebody something that I just can't do. So typically my answer for folks is, well, like the answering the phone thing. I constantly tell people the only time I don't answer my phone is when I can't answer my phone.
Yeah.
That might mean I'm at my son's hockey game. It might mean I'm at a gym meet. It might mean that I'm having a date night. But the only time I won't answer my phone is when I can't. So if something else is going on, I don't answer. And if I have the ability to take that call, I'm happy to take that call. So it's just about setting those expectations, making sure that people know they're going to get taken care of. And maybe it won't be exactly at that minute, right? Because I might be busy doing something else,
Sure.
but I will get back to you and we'll make sure that you're well served.
And that's a skill. It seriously is, when you're in this business, to be able to, I guess we could say set those boundaries of, you know what, I have to have family time. If not, you're going to burn out.
Mhm.
You're just going to get tired of this. You're not going to want to take someone out and even show them houses because you missed your son's hockey game. And I think people need to understand that about realtors
Mhm.
and mortgage lenders.
Mhm.
We honestly, we try to always be available, but it's like we have family too, and we want to spend time with family. So when you're not running to hockey, band, gymnastics, or showing property, what do you guys like to do for fun?
Oh, I you're gonna laugh at this because it's not really. I laugh at it because I think it's funny. I have always wanted to learn how to play piano
Oh, really?
since I've been a kid. So I recently took up piano. I actually got a piano and I've been practicing. So that's been my kind of off time
Are you
thing.
taking lessons?
Yes, yeah, I've got a teacher, which has been great.
Awesome.
And she comes over here. So like I try to place it so she's super flexible, which I appreciate because obviously my job means it's hard to be super flexible sometimes. But yeah, she'll just come over and we'll go through a couple of things and I will learn how to play that way. So I'm not a piano player yet, but
But you can play the piano.
I can hit the keys in a way that sounds like I'm playing the piano.
Well, that's as long as it doesn't sound like a cat walking across.
And it does not anymore. Yeah,
Good.
that's
But I think that's kind of exciting, seriously, to be fulfilling something that you've always wanted to do.
Mhm.
And it just makes me think of Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah.
right? You have shelter, you have food, the family's doing good, everything is good. You can move to like that top tier. See, you're in the top tier again. You are a rock star. Oh my gosh. You
I
are
like,
a
I
rock
like the
star
term
in so many
superhero.
ways.
I'm superhero obsessed, and you can't see it right now, but I've got like, I haven't built it yet. You know, I'm gonna go grab it. This will be fun. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's do this. Mostly because my shield isn't down here right now, but I love superheroes, so I have to build this.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah, I love this thing.
Yeah,
It's not set up yet, but I'm working
that
on it.
is awesome. That is awesome.
That's eventually
So
gonna
are
end
you
up on
gonna
the
build
shelf.
that by yourself, or are you gonna let the kids partake in this?
It's
Is
on
it
my
just a
mood
dad
that
thing? Stay out of my bat cave?
I might want to do that one by myself. I don't know. We built some other ones, but I don't know.
Really?
I might keep that one to myself. We'll see.
Do they know you have it?
They do.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they haven't
They
broken
didn't like
into.
sneak it in and sneak it to the office. And...
No, that's the other stuff, like the laser tag stuff. They don't know about that.
Well, let's just hope they don't watch podcasts or listen to podcasts.
If they do, they'll ask about it. That'll be fun. It's okay.
I love it. What is the one thing that you truly do like about real estate?
The people. It's absolutely about my clients, about my families. It's absolutely about building a better path forward, about learning and growing and making sure that you get what you need to in that interaction. And we had talked about this earlier for those of you who weren't in the conversation before the podcast.
In the green room.
In the in the green room, if you will. I truly believe that the only thing you can't get back more of is time. So I don't want anyone involving themselves in a property where they're going to be here for 3 years and understanding that for those 3 years, they just feel like they're working on it. They don't feel like it's the right home for them. It's never going to be, there's no such thing as a perfect house, right? That like, there are always going to be things that you might want to fix or repair or do whatever, but I want you to enjoy your time in a home. So for me, it comes back to the people. I do not watch HGTV. We talked about that before too. I'm not interested in home shows. I'm not interested in about the concepts of housing and whatnot. I care about you and how you're going to spend your time in that home. And if that's going to work for you, great. That's what I want for you as a home buyer. As a home seller, it's an entirely different field, of course. I still care about you, obviously. Like getting that job done for you is going to be the most important thing still. Different concept, because you're not looking for something that you're going to grow into, but it's about meeting your next goal, your next step of life. What's going to happen? Are we upgrading? Are we downsizing? Are we just moving out? Are we just going to buy an RV and travel? How can we do that the best for you so that you're ready for that next step? So I think the consistent thread is, what's your next step and what's your next goal and how can we help you reach it?
So that the house itself is just a structure, simply a structure. You are focused on what's going on inside that house, who those people are.
Right.
And
and I think using the term house is actually very descriptive there, because a house is just a structure. A home is something you create, right? That sounds like one of those weird real estate adages that I don't like, but that
no, but it is so true. What makes a home? It's the people in it.
Right. Yeah. It's the time you spend in it. It's the things that you do. It's your traditions. It's all of those things that you build into that. A house could be anywhere, it could be anything, but a home is something you have to create. So I want your house to be a home. I don't just want it to be a house. I want you to enjoy your time there. I want you to, when you're ready to let go of it. And this is always one of those weird things in real estate. Like when you go to sell your home, it's hard. You should have some emotional attachment to it, right? Like I did this in this house. I raised my kids here. Every year, this is where we do our baking, and every year, like all those traditions that are in that space and all those memories that are in that space. It's okay to be attached to that, right? But it's also one of those things like, okay, but what are we looking forward to? What are our next steps? What's going to be better than what we have now? And that's, again, the end goal is always, how can we help you improve that future? But we want you to enjoy your time now.
You know, you really just put something into perspective, even for me, that when you do leave a house, it's not the house, it's not that structure you're attached to. It is the memories there. And when I sold my house out in Falcon a while back, and I had been in the house for like 23 years.
Yeah.
Like so much of my adult life had taken place in that house. And it was hard to leave. I was happy I was leaving, but it was hard to leave.
Yep.
And now I realize, you know what, you're right. I mean, I brought those memories with me.
But it's
So that definitely puts it into perspective. And then when you're with your clients thinking about where they're going, you know, or are they leaving a townhouse to go to a single family home with a backyard where they can play with the kids or the dog can run around, or, you know, they can build that built-in outdoor kitchen that they want. So, you know, so bad.
Right.
So I think it's important to understand that real estate is not just about sticks and bricks and dirt, about the ground. It's the people in there. And you obviously understand that. I
mean, the story that I tell my clients, and I'm thinking about this now, and it's gonna get me choked up anyway. When we had Kai, my son, first kid, we put this really adorable mural on his wall that said, "Some people dream of angels, I hold them in my arms." Like, obviously this is your first kid. I'm in love with this kid. Of course I'm still in love with this kid. Like, he's my son. I remember when we were leaving, when we were upgrading our homes, so that they would be closer to the grandparents, closer to the life we wanted them to have, all that stuff. And they asked, "Hey, we're gonna move in. Can you paint over that?" Like, I'm like, "Nope, I'm not touching it. If you guys want to do it,
I'll buy the paint."
Right.
I'll buy you the brush. I have to do it.
So it is that. And I know very well that is just paint, right? We could have duplicated that in his room very easily. I still couldn't touch it. I still, to this day, I wonder if they did. I'm hoping they did, because again, I want their home to be their home.
Sure.
But at the same time, I hope they didn't. It's been a long time.
It'll live in infamy. It'll always be there.
Right. I mean, I've got pictures. I have the memory. It's not a big deal, but it is that. Like, the wall itself doesn't matter. It's the memory that was attached to that wall.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. It's hard. It is extremely hard to leave a house that even sometimes when you hate the house. I had a love-hate relationship with my house. It's out on 5 acres, and I was like in the direct line for every single major thunderstorm.
Oh, wow.
It was just kind of one of those things. And so then I'm moving into town where we don't get as much hail, although I will be calling the roof inspector after last night.
I think we all will.
Yeah, kind of got pounded last night, but it's the first hailstorm like I've had here in a couple of years. But anyway, so as I'm driving away and I'm thinking, oh my God, somebody else can deal with every 3 years getting a new roof, because that is like no joke on that house.
Wow.
I had like 8 roofs, I think.
Wow.
I was in a direct line to Blaze Peak, and I had some very angry clouds headed for me, but it was still just hard, and there was still things about that house I still loved at that point.
Of course.
And the funny thing is, I still can't drive past that house. Huh. Really? Now, how silly is that? No, yeah. I have to. If I have to go out on the prairie somewhere, I got to go around.
Which I imagine is actually a lot harder than it sounds, because it's not like, if you're just on like a major roadway, I can take Academy, I can take Woodman, whatever, it's easy to go around. But if you're just kind of out in Payton, that's a little bit harder.
Yeah. Yeah. And I realize that it's such a silly thing. I love the house I'm in now. Well, most days, but I think, don't you think we all go through that? So I think that's
Absolutely.
One thing that home buyers need to understand, is that you're not going to love your house every single day. I don't care if it's a brand new house, and if it is impeccably decorated, or if you are buying that fixer upper. At some point in time, you are going to have buyer's remorse and think, I should have bought a different house. That's normal. It's okay.
It is. Even if it's just that first night we were in the house and your smoke alarm decides to start chirping at you at 3 a.m. because they always start to chirp at 3 a.m. You're going to hate that house in that moment. You're not going to love it. No one does.
I do. I always give my clients like a pill bottle shape
Yeah,
with jelly beans. And I tell them that at some point in time over the next few weeks until you close on your loan and move in, you're going to have buyer's remorse because you're going to think that there was something better out there, or you're going to think that you should have bought new construction, or you're buying new construction and maybe I should have bought a resale. Maybe I should have bought it, in a different zip code, whatever it is, you're going to second guess yourself.
yep,
Here's your buyer's remorse pills, just eat a couple, you'll be okay.
yep,
We always just make this joke about it and then they're fine.
yep, exactly. And
I don't,
and then I think it's important to normalize it, which I think the joke helps, because it is, we all go through that. It's the same thing when you buy a car, when you buy a computer, when you, anything pretty much, purchase a TV. It's the same thing. I could have done this. I read the reviews on this. My friend has this one. I like that one a little better. It's probably not the case. You've already done the research. You like it.
exactly. But what if something better is out there? And you're right. It's the same thing with the car.
Yep.
I bought a car last year that I love. I love this car. Her name is Mrs. Kim. I absolutely love her. But I keep wondering, oh, should I have waited? Should I have gotten a newer one? I always buy used. I'm very proud of it because I don't like depreciation.
Yep.
I was a CPA, so trust me, I had depreciation drilled into my head. So Mrs. Kim was only a couple years old when I got her, and she had like no miles on her, and I loved it. But then I just keep thinking, what if? What if there was a better deal? And I got a great deal. So there wasn't. So I think it's totally normal. I think that you having that counseling background, that has got to help with your clients, because you can meet those types of issues head on and have logic with them. I know so many agents just get you like, well, yeah, it's the house you liked. You got your offer accepted.
Yeah,
It's probably not the best way to handle it.
No, I think that it's important to face those feelings, right? Like, it's important to kind of, I do the same thing. I bought my house and it was the same exact concept. It wasn't I love it, I'm so glad I made this decision and that's it. No, it was, should I have waited? Should I have done something different? Should I have done this? Do I want to paint this? Do I want to all of those things, of course, come up. But at the end, am I happy? Yeah, it's just working through that instead of ignoring it. So I do think that's important.
I think one of the biggest things that people don't realize when they're buying a house is the security that they're going to get from that house. I know it's scary if you've been a renter and now all of a sudden, maybe my house payment is going to be more than my rent, although as high as rents are some places here. But it's very scary. But when you get in that house and you realize, you know what, if I want to paint that wall purple, I can.
Yep.
There's no landlord that's going to come and tell me that I can't have a dog. And there's no landlord that's going to come and sell that house out from under me.
That's the big one.
I think that's huge. And especially when, well, I think for everybody, but when you have kids and you want some stability for them. So what, is there a group of buyers that you like working with best? Investors, $1 million buyers, first time home buyers?
Honestly, no. Like, I think one of my strengths is that I do have the ability to kind of meet you where you are. And so if you're an investor, great. How does that work for you? Let's talk about what you're looking for in your next investment. If you're looking for a $1 million home, it's the same thing as a first-time home buyer. We're just dealing with, maybe you've done this before instead of the last time you did it. But even then, if you did it 5 years ago, has the market changed? Of course it has. So being that you've bought one home in the last 5 years, and I've done this several times in the last 5 years, it's still helpful to have that insight and that background to kind of go, okay, well, how do we do it in today's market versus when we did it 5 years ago? If you're a first-time home buyer, I do love first-time home buyers because all of those questions, that education piece, that teaching piece, that I like to tell people, hey, listen, I'm going to explain this in as much detail as possible, because if I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, I want you to understand how to do it even without me. Hopefully I don't, but if I do, you at least have an understanding of what's going on. I love that part. I love that, explaining step by step hey, here's what's next. Here's what you're going to do next. Here's where we're going with this, and answering those questions. And what I really appreciate too is when people ask me a question that I don't typically get, because then I build it into a form that I missed that one. Okay, somebody else is probably going to ask me this later on down the line. So
Yeah.
now I've got that question answered, and of course it varies per house. But some of the general stuff like, well, when do we plan our inspection? Typically, it's between this time frame. What happens after that? Here's the list of things that we're going to do from start to finish. It's very simplified, but right up front, here we go. Here's what the path is. There are, of course, going to be waves and changes, but here's where we're going. Each step is already outlined. Just building out those really helpful tools so that when those things come up, we're ready for you. It's not going to be I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
We're ready for it.
Yeah. At least they've heard the term.
Exactly.
What's coming. I try to do that with my clients too. It's like in the very beginning, we're discussing closing disclosures because I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to look for a house. This is what your agent's going to do. And then you're going to get this and we're going to go along. And the exciting part's when that closing disclosure comes out and you're getting ready to close. And I think that education piece is huge. And you're right. Sometimes it's not just first-time home buyers that need that, because if someone's been in a house for 10 years or even 5 years, they don't deal with it every day like we do.
Right.
And it's scary. It's always when I bought this house a year and a half ago, I got fired by a couple of loan officers. Yeah. Apparently I wasn't a good client. They pretty much said, do your own loan. So that's going to be like my claim to fame now. 33 years as a loan officer, and I can't get anybody to do my loan. I'm not too picky. But anyway.
So, I do say doctors make the worst patients. It does make sense. It does make sense.
Yeah. It just, honestly, it's probably the same with real estate too. Other agents are probably afraid to write your contract for you.
I would guess.
Yeah, well, there's a little insight into me.
I love it.
But no, I understand, because I do love my first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
So, now you work by yourself, correct? You don't have a team?
No, I do have a team, which is, I noticed that I kept saying we, which sounded very weird. But yes, I do have a team. Right now, it's just me and one other agent. Her name's Mary. But Mary and I kind of operate together and just trying to help as many people as well. The team name is the Colorado Home Heroes, because again, I'm superhero obsessed. So that's what it's about. It's about being heroes and taking care of your home.
I love it. So that comes from superheroes, not like military hero. In Colorado Springs, we hear hero and we always think military. So,
yep. And I typically, I'm not wearing a superhero pin today. I normally have a pin on. That's kind of my thing. Is just, for me, superheroes emulate the greatest part of humanity, right? Like they're fictional, but they're taking all the greatness that we have in human nature and amplifying it essentially. So it's always my goal to be a superhero, which I don't have powers yet, but I'm working on it.
I honestly, I think you might have some superpowers that you don't realize you have.
I'm not hit by lightning yet. I'm going to try that next. So
you're doing a lot of business. So that's awesome. Well, I so appreciate you taking, time out of your super busy day. Again, the whole concept behind this is so people can get to know you as a person. And folks, I think he's a pretty awesome person. Anybody that can come in here and sit down and laugh with me, I love it. So again, you can get Brian's information will be down below. Brian Coram with the Cutting Edge Realtors.
All the real estate. I just do all the real estate. Let's go with that.
He's in real estate. In case you didn't pick up on that part. So if you're looking to buy or sell, please give Brian a call. I know he would love to work with you. And maybe next time we'll get Mary on here too and meet her.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think that would be awesome. And especially if you're new to Colorado Springs or you're just moving in, like Brian would be a great resource, especially if you have kids, because he obviously knows, all the things for kids to do here. He's got everything from hockey to gymnastics to band. Been here for a long time, and that's huge because geographically we have a big town, we have a lot of businesses here, and how do you choose stuff for your kids if you're looking for karate or dance or gymnastics or whatever? So I will just venture to say that Brian's got resources for all of that.
It's funny you should say that because we did karate and dance, and of course she's
Did you?
So yep.
So, and he will answer your call. That's important. That's huge. As long as he's not out at date night. Don't ever cut date night short. Trust me on that. So thank you so much for being here, and everybody else, I will see you on the flip side.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.